So welcome everyone to the August 25th meeting of the Conway Selectboard. First item on the agenda is to, I thought I did, sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
This is only my second time running a meeting, and I really appreciate this for reminding me of all that.
Sure.
No, it's okay. So first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of August 4th, 2025. Those look good to me as always. So motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meetings attended by select board members.
No official meeting.
Elaine? Yeah. Same. No official meetings.
You went to the IT?
Oh, was that official? I guess so. Yeah, so we did have, we had a meeting with our IT vendor on Friday. I guess I'm still trying to figure out what's an official meeting, what's not. Yeah, we did, Veronique and I had a meeting with our IT vendor to discuss issues with our current contract. That was on Friday morning. Public comments. Do we have anyone here for public comments? Don't believe so. Unfinished business. None that I'm aware of. So we do have our joint meeting with Finance Committee at 6, but is there anyone else that we can get to first, if it's very quick, which I assume is going to be to approve the hiring?
I was gonna say, it's just an informational meeting anyway, there's no
Yeah.
votes
Okay,
involved, so
alright.
why don't we just move forward with the finance committee first as
Well-
for the agenda?
Well, it just might take a little, even though we're not voting, I feel like we're gonna probably discuss quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
So,
So Jolene?
yeah, so if we can, so discussion and vote to approve the hiring of our new assistant treasurer, tax collector, Jolene Lavalley, who's been interviewed by our new treasurer, tax collector, Sean, and Veronique. We have her resume here. We look exceptionally qualified for this job.
Could be our dynamic duo, that's awesome.
Yeah. Discussion? Any discussion?
Only if you two have any questions for us. Really.
No.
All right.
Do you play pickleball?
I didn't either until I started, and
Just
I
you
started
wait.
playing a little bit.
Oh, awesome, that's great. Just joking, it's not a requirement.
I just wanted Jan's training to continue to the course.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're our part-time assistant, how many hours a week? 18? 18, okay. All right. Like I said, I read your resume, you look very qualified. I trust both of these professionals who interviewed you. So I make a motion that we approve the hiring of Jolene Lavalley as our new assistant treasurer tax collector.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you and welcome aboard.
Yes, glad to have you. So do I have to sign the actual thing or something?
No.
Okay, all right.
Sean does that, so you're on it.
All right, so I think that's okay.
You good?
Unless you have anything else for us, we're off the rest of
Do
the
we
evening.
need to go over the health insurance?
Yeah, Sean's here to go to the part
Oh,
of
okay,
this.
so
Yeah,
he's part
so
of,
I don't know if
okay,
you
all right,
wanna
so Jolene has.
listen to, it's up to you, if you wanna.
Well, yeah, I gotta run over there with you.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure you guys are aware of the,
Yes. So shall we move on to the convening the meeting with the finance committee?
2 more minutes, we're gonna see if she'll be here.
Do you have,
Oh,
okay, all right, so we've got a couple minutes
Yeah, we'll have a
before you
quorum.
have a quorum?
Thank you.
Okay, great. So what's the easiest thing to
And that's a
tackle?
motion probably,
Okay.
memorandum?
Yes. All right, so discussion and vote on the 2026 Mass Motion Memorandum of Understanding with the FERCog for age-friendly Conway.
So this is just the annual agreement you sign that gives us the funds that come in to fund the.
Is everything happening with it?
Yeah, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, we're meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an active.
Yeah.
Great. So you need a motion for this?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the mass and motion memorandum of understanding for FERC for H.W. Conway.
Second.
You know, did it?
I did. So honored. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
I don't see any changes on here.
No, it's the standard one it's you've done this.
Oh,
Trying
sorry.
to figure out where it is.
You know what? Let's pull the works all together.
Only my second time running a meeting.
You want to call your meeting to order and we can
Yes.
do our joint?
Make a motion to call the Town of Conway Finance Committee meeting to order. Great. 6:06.
So this is now a joint meeting of the Conway Selectboard and the Town Finance Committee.
All right.
Alright, ready now?
Yeah, Sean,
Yeah,
what
it's an interesting conversation here.
Yeah,
This is
so
bad news.
effective 10/1, the HMO health insurance is going up another 20%. So,
On top of already going up 17 or 15?
18%.
yeah,
Beyond what we already budgeted for FY.
correct. So, yeah, 3 months in, which from what I know hasn't happened with that.
38%.
I think
Since
we had-
January,
Yeah, so for that, for the rest of the year, the budgeting that out, we're gonna need an additional $85,533.73. And that's not including any new employees, that's not best factoring in, I know there's been a couple through the school that haven't even figured into this yet. And then there's also, with that change that was, that recently did with the 50% for the scholarships, that total wasn't before yet either, because that was another 22,506. So without any new employees, we're looking at 108,039.70.
For FY twenty-six.
So,
Is that 108,039?
yeah, 108,039.73.
Sounds
And we're probably gonna need a little more wiggle room there too, with some new employees.
Yeah, so there's no new employees, including this is existing stuff.
Yeah, and I know one of the school employees just, he picked up PPO, family PPO plan, so it's the higher of them. So that one, I believe she's the only one that benefits for the new employees. So it won't be a huge number to add.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've contacted some outside sources and gotten some top of our, town administrators, kind of just gauge where they're at, but kind of everybody's in the same boat right now, with health insurance, the cost. And we have, I told, that company, yeah, Align, yeah, we dealt with, company Align, and they've been reaching out, and told them that we'd get back to them after the board, if there's any recommendations,
And what did they offer?
Alliant is really more of like a broker for insurance.
Yeah, they kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
the same as, that, they get a little, we get a little incentive, and we think they can get us out of our contract, but, we haven't heard the big sense, we get able to and stuff, and,
So the contract that we have, we're
So we can get out of the contract with Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, however, we're kind of really watching, I think, the larger towns to see if any of the larger towns leave, then the trust is probably gonna lose its power. The problem with switching is that because we're so small, we're not allowed to see the actual claim history that we have. So we would have no idea how much, it's a HIPAA thing, because there's so few.
Right, right.
So we would have no idea how much liability we're taking on, because we don't know what the claims, anyway, so.
although if we went out to a different vendor, like a defender, potentially have access to that information so they would know whether or not they're willing to insure us. It's weird to me that like we don't have access to that
Right,
information,
that's-
even just
I
at
mean,
like a
that's
very
got
generic
Augie's
level.
question.
We went out to bid at work with a different broker, and everything went up 17%. Not 38%,
Yeah, yeah.
like, that's insanity.
It is, I agree, and actually, I just registered today for MMA and Maya are putting on a joint meeting. They haven't even formalized the agenda yet. I think they just all felt like they had to jump in and talk about healthcare
Yeah.
costs. So it's gonna be in Rentham on September 30th, so I'm on that. Hopefully I'll get more information. Of course, the rates go up October 1st, but, you know. But every town I know around here is gonna have a special town meeting to deal with this. I mean, we have enough money in the budget to get us through a certain amount of time, but we've
It's just the
definitely.
point, that you already go by 17% and then you raise it another
Yeah.
20,
Well, it's worse than that.
21?
No, it's
Compound.
because.
It's compounded on top of
It's
that.
compounded,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then the compound element to it, but also, you know, we were told the 17% increase was due to the
The GLP-1,
GLP-1 drugs.
which they're stopping.
They
They're now
stop
taking
it.
off.
Yeah.
Right.
They take those
They're not
drugs
gonna
off
cover
and
that
then they
anymore,
increase
so,
another
yeah.
20%, which in actuality is more like 22%. So that's where I'm flabbergasted as to where that math works.
Right.
Yeah, they did have, I think it was a $2 million reserve fund, and like they said, they're getting some pushback from their own members saying, why do you have so much money in reserves? And then this all
Good
hit,
point.
all these claims. And, but if they hadn't had that, this would have happened a lot quicker. So I don't know enough about it to be honest with
Buy
you.
any of it.
But, you know, didn't they tell people they could switch from the PPO to the HMO if
So
they
they're gonna
wanted
do,
to?
yeah, there's a special, open enrollment for the members who are in PPO to switch to HMO. We only have, I believe, 3 members in PPO.
That's fine.
But, I mean, yeah, so it's not gonna make a huge difference in cost.
And they're also talking about, so it was 18% that went up for the HMO and 20% for PPO that we incorporated into the FY '26 budget, so this is another 20% on top. And includes MedX, right?
Medics is going up in January.
Yeah.
That is not, yeah.
Oh, that's not even on
Yeah.
that, yeah.
No, because of the adjustments, but that's gonna happen during
Right, so that- yeah.
Another 20% increase for them, which again will be not, really wasn't budgeted.
No, it
Right.
hasn't been budgeted.
I mean, but in anticipation of that, I mean, that's like $100,000 is significant. And if we're anticipating like more money in January, if we do have a special town meeting, I mean, I think we should anticipate like the full.
Yeah, get it all done at once.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I had read in the paper that there was another town that was considering 3 different options for where to get the funds for this. Obviously, we could do free cash once it's certified. We could do general stabilization if we wanted, which hasn't been used since I've been here. But we only have about 280,000, I think, in there. And then OPEB, but I did speak with Mike, we could only use OPEB for the retirees. So, but that might,
For Medics, I know.
for the MedX, that might help. Yeah. But my understanding is that the plan has been so good and, you know, no deductibles. And when you compare, it's difficult to compare plans sometimes because if you have a deductible of $750 for a family and no deductible under other plans, how do you decide, you know what I mean, where is your cutoff and savings and everything? Anyway.
Well, the other thing is that, they haven't increased rates for so long that,
Yeah.
it was always voted, by the feds to not do it every time they suggested it, so now it's kind of at a point where like, now it's moving from the other, have the reserves, they just have to start drastically reducing the
Yeah.
reserves for being a self-insured plan, so it means like in some higher volume plans, especially the cost of healthcare going up. I was thinking like, I believe it's really like that, they try to have 30 months of premiums in reserve and they get 8 million, about 8 million a month. And right now, the last time they think they have like 6 million, so they're under a month of reserve.
And then again, my agency's self-insured and we went up by 17%, not fairly.
Yeah, which is still drastic, right? But in this case, I mean, with the hand, I mean, I think that
Drastic for non.
they might have been handcuffed for a while and not raising the rates because, people were happy with keeping the cost low, but now it's, they should have been going up a little bit every year instead
Right.
they did.
Drastic but not catastrophic.
Now it's, it's getting.
I'm sure it's catastrophic to some towns.
Well, that's the thing is we're talking about the impact to the towns, which is huge. But we also have the employees as well that are part of it, right? So anybody that has worked a hard year got an increase is being negated, in some cases they're
Exactly.
getting less.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We did look into what would be some ways we could try to fairly compensate people, and it gets so complicated, you know. And I know, some places do offer employees, you know, say 1,000 or 2,000, whatever, to not use the town insurance if they have a spouse, or their spouses, and I did hear that it tends to be that the people who get that money are ones who weren't gonna leave anyway, or who weren't gonna use it
Yeah, I
anyway.
never really bought that in
So,
union
yeah.
negotiations with the
So I don't
small,
think
like,
that
either you
would-
take it or you don't take it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people are using the insurance, it's because they get it.
Yeah, but one of the things they're talking about in the trust is whether or not they're gonna change the plan to have high deductibles to try to lower, you know, who knows how it's gonna play out. But how, in other words, how to compensate somebody, you know, in such a way that it seems fair, when everybody's healthcare is going up. You know, unless you do it employee by employee, you know, it makes it really challenging
Yeah.
to try to figure out.
I mean, they already raised the rates, and they didn't know this was coming, and then it's okay to raise the rates
Well, they
again. I just
didn't
don't really
I
understand
feel
the
like they
timing of
probably-
it.
I feel like this.
Because they were gonna go under. We literally would have had no health insurance, which is why they voted to stay.
Yeah.
We would get sucked into it. Again, like, because we can't see our claims, we don't actually know if we're benefiting
Yeah.
from being with them, or if, you know, we're contributing to, you know, we could have someone help you, we don't know, if we can't see that, you know.
So
They
what-
said we could get in several high claims, but we're not, we can't see if those high claims are coming from Conway.
Couldn't we go out to bid as a town?
Yeah, that's what I'm finding.
Just
What are
not
the
to be
options?
No
self-insured?
What are
other
the options?
alternative, like,
Well, as far as I know, the only alternatives I've heard are GIC, and I confess I don't know what it stands for, but I know it's a state-run.
Group
agency.
Insurance Commission.
Oh, thank you, okay.
Yes.
And that one just got bailed out by the state. Then
Okay.
there's the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, and then there's Maya. So this conference that I'm going to in September is with Maya and MMA. Basically, everybody's having this discussion.
Yeah.
So when this first happened, I threw out some information to Stan, you know, asking people questions, and I can't remember if it was you or me who came back with the line, but somebody had told me to talk to this person, because that's who their, you know, broker was, who helped them with a lot. So they're willing to still talk with us about alternatives, and to see if they can get us a better deal, or put together maybe a subset of Hampshire County towns, you know, but all that takes a lot of time and coordination and,
I mean, alternative, the employees, you have a stipend, you know, payment, but that's more money you have to come up with, so.
yeah.
There was an option, there was some of the, one of the meetings, sometimes they kind of got flexible spending accounts where they don't lose it. You take the money out pre-tax, and kind of maybe offset some of the
It's very
deduction costs, and
complicated
use
for
that
someone to
towards.
have to manage too, to like, you know, keep track of that on an annual basis.
More work for the town.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
for the
need
individual
to
as well.
contract with somebody who manages the FSA.
Yes, it would be-
Like
it would be
Fidelity
that.
or somebody like that, and they probably wouldn't work with, you know, a small organization like us. It'd have to be a really group organization.
But so we're obligated to provide health insurance to our employees.
That's a good question.
Well, we wouldn't have employees, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't work for us.
Right, I know, I'm just like, you know, we know how much we're spending on, you know, per individual essentially, for healthcare.
Well, we cover the grammar school, so there it's by contractual.
I guess, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
Right.
that gets.
Yeah.
And that's the majority of it.
One thought, I have many thoughts about this. I'm really concerned because when I sent this an email, I sent out most people do, I think, who oversees this trust? I mean, we're not really accountable. We're not a government entity. We're not really accountable to anyone other than the trustees. I mean, how are the trustees appointed? With the GIC, and I'm assuming that the State Department of Banking and Insurance, who knows how to capitalize, make sure things are properly capitalized, is required to look at reports and there's some quote-unquote regulatory oversight. And I'm really leaning towards GIC because you have an extra set of eyes and ears of people who are, I think, understand how to capitalize these things properly. So we don't, become insolvent, or an organization becomes insolvent.
That makes a lot of sense.
And, yeah, I mean, that's a massive organization that's got all of this infrastructure and the,
It feels like they're in a position where it's just gonna be, rats leaving the sinking ship at this point.
especially if all of
There's
the
only
small towns
73
in
members,
Massachusetts
we're all,
are in
we're all
the same
facing
situation.
this 38% increase. I mean, everybody's looking.
Yeah.
And if they start bailing, they're on a downward spiral.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it would be best just to figure out what our next best option is.
Has anyone from the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, trustees, have they issued any kind of audited financial statement for 2024? The one that's published is now over 2 years old.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the financial and fiduciary aspect, because the premium increase is more than just the premium. It's to recapitalize the reserves. So we're looking at, that level, and how is that level determined?
If they got less than a month's worth of reserves. right
Yeah, I mean,
now,
I would assume that
That's
they'll
really
recapitalize and be
problematic.
adequate.
Oh, it is.
Which, is beyond our scope, but I mean, we're a stakeholder in this, so we need to know.
I can try to delve into it some more, but I did have a conversation, with Shelley, because she's actually on the executive board.
Right.
So,
Right.
she just does such an amazing job for the schools that, I trust her opinion and background, so I can delve into that some more.
Well-
GIC, I'd actually like to delve more and find out, because I just heard they were bailed out, but I don't know what that was all about, what.
Who was, New Hampshire was bailed out?
Hampshire County
No,
Insurance
no,
Trust?
GIC.
Oh, GIC.
CIC
right.
was bailed out.
Yes,
By the
yes.
state, yes.
Okay.
And I know if the state bails them out, the state does that with conditions, including rigorous reporting.
Yeah. So, and I do know that Hampshire County has approached the legislators to see if there's any help that can be afforded by the state, but we haven't heard anything yet.
Yeah, I mean,
So do we have like a hard and fast deadline at which point we, as a town, are gonna have to come up with a certain amount of time to pay?
Yeah.
Well, you said October 1st, right?
September.
October 1st is when the
When
rates
the
go
rates
up.
change.
You're right, well,
But
that's
we
when
have-
we become liable for it.
Yeah,
That's when we're liable for it.
the answer's
However,
right now.
we already have our budgeted FY '26, so we just have to get enough to get us through June 30th. So we have a while before we have to. In other words, we already have budgeted, we can cover all the months.
Yeah.
up
We've
until-
only
Well, we
covered
can-
the first couple of months of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna owe the higher
It's not
rates for
much.
80
We
Yes.
bill the premiums in arrears, so.
Yes,
we're
but what I'm
already-
saying is that we have enough budgeted that will cover that extra amount
All right.
through to
Oh,
probably.
I see.
March.
Yeah.
So we could take out free cash, or we could take it out of capital
Yeah.
stabilization.
I mean, essentially,
General
we're taking out
stabilization,
free
it's just the
cash to
same.
cover operating expenses, which is a general rule, is not best practice, but given the association, I can say right now, Orange, Massachusetts is part of this, and they're taking out free cash, they're spending their free cash down to zero.
They're spending their free cash on insurance.
Yes,
And Orange.
that's correct, they're part of this trust, they're spending it down, among other things, but they're spending their free cash down to zero, because, I mean, what's the base right now?
Yeah.
I mean, so we could if we, I guess, so we can cover our obligations, but only for this fiscal year. This is not like a solution.
It's not a
It
solution.
could go down, I mean, it could be the effect of like not covering the GLP-1,
Yeah, but they already said they weren't covering it.
Well, that hasn't started yet, but you'll.
Yeah, but
Such an
yeah, to say like we're not covering it,
Get over
and,
that.
but your
Yeah.
rates are still, your rates went up because we're covering this.
Well, they did also say that it was a great increase in the number of
There was
claims.
several high
Yeah,
dollar
really
claims.
high claims that came out.
It's probably the number of approved claims,
Could be.
all because of something that might have happened around that time that we don't know about. So, anyway, and I know we keep on saying 38%, but it's not 38, it's like 40-some percent.
It's, yeah, it's like a.
So we're almost talking half.
Yeah. And again, it's to recapitalize the trust to a level, is that adequate going forward? I mean, these are unknowns.
I have no trust in a group that has to come back twice and say we need to increase your rates a
Right.
quarter each time.
Yeah.
I have no trust in the group.
I think we gotta really look at options.
Yeah.
So I need more information, but I mean, thank goodness organizationally, this town has liquidity advantages.
Well, and the finance committee and select board had already agreed that you'd start off with 250,000 in free cash anyway. So you
Yeah.
know that when it gets certified in
It's
October,
gonna be more than that.
that'll be
because
more
of-
than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of local receipts, we are than the rest of them.
But just to, I don't know, it doesn't feel good to spend free
No,
cash on that.
no, I don't like the idea either. Of course, I don't like the idea of spending general stabilization on it either. but
No.
We don't have, yeah,
Something
yeah,
else.
this is not stabilization, this is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
emergency, and it shouldn't be
Yeah.
emergency, it should be,
Well, and who knows what the next year brings? Like,
Yeah.
it just can't spiral like this, it
Right.
just isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that the state's not gonna recognize that all of us small towns are in this
Oh,
same situation.
small towns and big towns, I
Yeah.
mean, some of the bigger sized towns are part of this trust and are, cost.
Yeah, I mean, but, I don't know, everyone could join the GIC.
Is everybody getting the same increase?
In
Is-
Hampshire
or is-
County group, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
The
okay.
same, yeah.
Along with something shit.
So, again, the only options I'm aware of are GIC, Hampshire County, and Maya. I will be talking with Maya. If you'd like us to, Sean and I can reach out to Alliant again and see what options they can provide for us.
Well, Maya have some kind of a dog and pony show for us, or something they can facilitate, and even if this, you don't have to call a quorum of the finance, I'd be happy to,
Yeah, I
Given
mean,
the
I can
emergency
forward, if you wanna, I don't know if you can go to Rentham on January, on September 30th, but,
It's a long way up.
but I know.
Might be out
Probably
there.
like a month.
Yeah, that's the email I sent you.
Yeah,
If I'm out there, it's for my other job.
Yeah. So, Sean, you said you can do that?
yeah.
Okay, so he and I will go to this meeting with Maya and
Okay.
May, and
Okay.
I'm sure it's gonna be packed.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, you better register early.
Oh, I already have. It came out on Friday, I think I'm already registered.
I mean, I'm curious whether there's anyone else who's explored the option of just figuring out what a town annually would spend on insurance, giving that as a stipend to employees and saying, go to the marketplace.
Oh, I mean, a high
But with our
revenue.
school
to
employees, I
Mass
don't know how we do that.
Right, yeah, I guess that's, I mean,
How
I
many
guess
people-
because
It's a self-
it's complicated by
Yeah, I mean,
by
you don't
want
employees.
Well, aside from that, that puts a lot of work on Sean, because you de facto would become the HR administrator, because people are going to be going to you for all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so we can't offer like one thing to school employees and employees.
No.
So it's,
They're
yeah.
not big enough to do that.
Yeah, I know, but we gotta throw all the options out.
I know,
Yeah,
like,
of course,
I-
right. Yeah, right. Okay.
All right, well, we got, next up,
Clear as mud.
Okay, is that, so there was no vote, this was just discussion with select board and treasurer, so, all right, thank you all for, being here and coming out
Okay.
involved.
Yeah, welcome aboard again.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great.
Well, I make a motion to call the finance committee. Adjourned.
Second, March 28.
Thank you.
Thank you, finance.
Yes, thank you for
You're welcome.
helping
To be continued.
us work through.
Yeah, welcome to 2025.
Medicare for all, what?
All right.
Yeah, don't
Okay,
worry,
I'm-
don't worry, it'll get worse from here.
I'm not entirely clear who's here for what, so,
Deerfield
6:30.
River Wild and Scenic Study, I
right,
bet.
wild and scenic, so who's here for the Deerfield River Wild?
we
and
are not.
Scenic?
Chris Curtis is coming, isn't he?
I thought he was?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, maybe they're having trouble parking. Can I,
Or
can
was
you
it
front
where
that
they
door
sit?
open?
Oh, lovely to see you.
It is only 6:29, we
That's
can
the new
take
plan.
it. And Janet, are you also here for the conservation restriction?
Well, a little bit, yeah,
A little
but
bit, okay.
mostly the wild and scenic.
You can knock off the picture.
Oh, good.
Is there anything we can vote on?
The picture request.
Yeah, vote on appointing the.
Okay, All right, so, discussion and possible vote on applying for the Green Communities Grant for streetlight replacements.
I make a motion to apply for the Green Communities Grant for the streetlight replacement.
I second.
And just for, and for some context for everyone who's just joining us, the grant that we applied for previously for streetlight replacement, we did not get.
It's not awarded.
It was not awarded, and so, I think we all feel strongly that all the work that especially the Conservation Committee or the Sustainability Committee, did on this project, that we're all committed to replacing the streetlights. So,
Yes.
all right, so motion to apply for the green, did you?
Yes.
You
already
did.
did it.
We just need to do all in favor.
Okay, all in favor of
Aye.
applying for the Green Communities Grant again in the fall for streetlight replacement? All
Aye.
right, thank you.
Verity. Good to see you. So, I'm really bad at remembering how I do this in presentations for you. I mean, there's this little thing that, that's this one. Yeah, that says slideshow, but then it gives me both, they just like move this over.
You should be able just to click an arrow.
Yeah, for that, but it was showing all the notes and stuff that I wrote. Okay, great. Do you wanna drive?
Okay, so we are next welcoming Curtis,
Chris Curtis.
Chris Curtis.
I have a request back here because of the fan.
Oh, do you want me to turn it off for the sound?
You know, it's just a little harder to hear.
Yeah.
And everybody's facing
What?
forward.
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, welcome Chris Curtis from the Deerfield River Wild and Scenic Study.
Yes, thank you. I'm here as Vice President of the Deerfield River Watershed Association. We've been working on this initiative to protect the Deerfield River for about 3 years now. We've interacted with you before about it. I think you folks provided a letter of support initially for the concept about 3 years ago. And since that time, we've been working away, and we got a grant from the Woodlands Partnership, which I think you were also partnering with us on, and worked with the Wild and Scenic Committee, and you have a representative on that committee who's here tonight. And spent about 9 months putting together a study that looks at whether the Deerfield River could be designated as a National Wild and Scenic River or not. I want to kind of take you through the findings of that study and give you a chance to ask questions if you like as well. So really what I want to do tonight is you know, go through the main points of the study, and if there's any comments from anyone, I'm happy to take those, and then ask you to consider the vote of endorsement for the plan and for designation of the river after we're done with all of that. So some of the key findings that I'm going to cover tonight are how the National Wild and Scenic River System works with studies and approval process, what we found to be the outstandingly remarkable values of the Deerfield River and its tributaries, and that's a term that comes right out of the Federal Wild and Scenic Rivers Act. Outstandingly remarkable is what you have to get into the designation. We'll talk a little bit about the eligibility and classification of different segments of the river, also the suitability for the river to be designated, do a quick synopsis of the study committee's work and the public engagement process that we've been going through, the kinds of support for designation that we've gotten so far, talk a little bit about what we identified as the key river management issues and what are the strategies to address those, and then next steps in the process. So this is the Deerfield River watershed. It extends up into Vermont. Kind of, it's a little hard to see the map, but half of the watershed's in Vermont, half's in Massachusetts. And we looked at, in this study, 23 river segments, and we were focused just on the Massachusetts portion of the watershed. The Vermont portion, we are hoping to get done under separate funding, and we have some work going on there now through the National Park Service, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So you can see the different segments that we looked at. So the study and approval process, just to kind of take you through the steps, generally speaking, this is how it works. You initially get a demonstration of local support. That's what we did 3 years ago. We went to Congress to try to get legislation passed to fund a feasibility study. That didn't happen. We got bills filed in 3 separate years by our representative, Congressman McGovern and Senator Markey being the leads, but they did not pass. So the third step with National Park Service funding, this didn't happen. Instead, we went a little bit of an end around and went to the Woodlands Partnership and got funding from them. So we did get a local steering committee set up, as I mentioned, to assist with the study. And then the next steps are that the communities formally adopt the plan that we are presenting to you tonight. We've been going through that process with communities all over the watershed. And then the communities petition Congress to actually make the designation. It's a separate piece of legislation that has to happen. And hopefully Congress passes that. But another alternative is that if Congress is not inclined to move forward, you can bypass them by going through the state's governor, who then petitions the Secretary of the Interior to make the designation. So that's an alternate route. It's actually the route that we used to get the Westfield River designated some time ago. So it's an option.
How long ago was that?
For the Westfield, I'm gonna say 30 years ago.
Wow.
30?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I've actually worked on that project too.
Is that the only one that has this in Massachusetts?
No, there are several. That was the first one. That's only the second wild scenic river in New England at the time it happened. But now there's the Concord, Sudbury, and Assabet rivers, and I believe there's a couple more, but I can't tell you what they are.
That's nice.
So, outstandingly remarkable values. What we found was that there were indeed quite a few outstandingly remarkable values that made this river, worthy of designation. I'll just talk about a few of those briefly. Recreation was one. We have perhaps the best whitewater boating and rafting in Massachusetts, with rapids from class 2 to 5 on different segments of the Deerfield. Other recreational highlights are the Mohican Mohawk Trail, which parallels the river and runs through many communities, including your own. Also a number of other hiking trails, and then beautiful state parks and protected areas. There's 32 of them altogether in the watershed. And then fisheries is really one of the really key reasons why I think this river qualifies. We have a excellent trout fishery with some of the best dry fly fishing for wild trout in the whole eastern part of the United States, one of the 3 best cold water fisheries in all of New England, and the upper Deerfield River is arguably the premier wild trout stream in Massachusetts. And then other natural resources. Yes?
Sorry, just watching the trees.
Well, we have old growth forest in the watershed, including the tallest tree in Massachusetts and the largest collection of tall white pines in New England. A number of rare and endangered species. We have waterfalls, gorges, and unique geologic formations and large areas of core wildlife habitat.
What is core wildlife habitat?
The state's Fisheries and Wildlife Department has mapped out all of these areas that are important wildlife areas, and they're all on Mass GIS, and you can look at them, but they're really focus areas for wildlife that are large enough to accommodate habitat for some of the animals that are unique to the state. So we also have lots of history here. I don't need to tell you that, but we have quite a few historic villages, including the historic Deerfield Living Museum, rich Native American history. The historically significant Mohawk Trail ran along the river and is now following the route of the Mohican Mohawk Trail. in some parts. And also we had important rail history here, including the Hoosac Tunnel,
Yes,
which has a lot of history.
yeah.
And then some years ago, there was a National Rivers inventory done of everything in the United States, and multiple segments of the Deerfield were identified in that inventory as being eligible, and also several of the tributaries, Cold River, Bog, and Gulf Brooks, which are wild, free-flowing rivers, were identified as being eligible in that inventory. So eligibility and classification, we looked at, again, those many segments of the river, and we found that 5 reaches of the main stem of the Deerfield were eligible, and 15 of the tributaries were also eligible. And those fell into 3 different classifications: recreational, scenic, and wild. And what I'm going to do is kind of take you through the different reaches and just briefly touch on why they're eligible and what's important about them. So we're going to start the tour down at the bottom of the river where it joins the Connecticut River and go upstream from there. So the first reach is from the Connecticut River up to dam number 2. And this is one of the reaches that's in your community. We found that 14 miles of this section were eligible, and it's classified as recreational. It's heavily used for kayaking and tubing and fishing. Has the Mohican Mohawk Trail along it, the South River State Forest.
But not classified as scenic?
Um,
I'm just curious what that's like.
you know, it's
That's
a
our
little
closed
bit of a
bridge, right?
judgment
Yeah.
call, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
It's
surprised, that's all.
It's pretty scenic in many portions, so you probably could get scenic for parts of it.
Yeah,
Um,
and historic too.
I'm sorry?
It's a lot of history too.
Yeah, a lot of history, and it's a beautiful gorge. If you've ever been in it, it's a gorgeous place to be. Also a regionally significant trout stream.
We've all been in
Yes,
Okay.
We've all
a
been
lot.
Well, I don't have to tell you anything, that's great. So the reach just upstream from that one, reach number 2, from Gardner's Falls Dam to the dam number 2 is a really short reach, and we included it because there's about 6/10 of a mile that was eligible also in your community, and it's because the Wilcox Hollow area is so particularly scenic. We thought we wanted to try to include that, even though it's a short section. And it also has the Mohican Mohawk Trail in that section. And then we kind of skip over one section in Shelburne Falls where there are dams that are kind of all close together, and because the dams are so close together, the impoundments connect from one dam to another, so they don't qualify. But then above that, in Shelburne and Buckland, between Dam 4 and Dam 3, there's another short 6/10 of a mile section that has the so-called Sunburn Beach swimming area with the, kind of the geologic formations there. Very beautiful spot, so we wanted to include that. And then above that is reach number 5 from Bear Swamp Fife Brook Dam to dam number 4. This is kind of the potentially really the most important section of the whole river. It's 16 miles that are eligible. It's got really the best whitewater boating and tubing. It's got Zor Gap, the Mohican Mohawk Trail again, all of that old growth forest with tall trees. It's the premier wild trout stream. When I mentioned that earlier, this is the section that falls into that category, and history as well. So pretty special section. And then above that, reach number 6, there's another relatively short section, but particularly beautiful one. It's about 2 miles that's eligible. It's got the Deerfield Dryway, which is a fairly intense whitewater boating reach, regionally significant trout stream, and as you can see from this picture, a really scenic gorge that not a lot of people actually tend to see, but it's a really beautiful spot. And then we go into the tributaries. The Cold River the entire 13 miles is eligible, and it's in the wild category because it doesn't have any dams at all on it. And that's pretty rare in Massachusetts and New England. It's got scenic river gorge, it's got swimming and paddling areas. This one also has the old growth forest and the tallest tree along it. So it's pretty special.
How tall is the tallest tree?
You know, I
huge.
forget.
It's 164 feet tall.
And where is it?
164?
Yeah.
And where is it? It's like in,
It's in the Mohawk Trail State Forest.
Yeah, it's a white pine.
Yeah, they're all white pines. The grove of the tall trees is all white pines as well. Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah. No, Bob Leverett took us there.
Oh, you're looking at it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's the master of the tall trees.
I've been to that old growth forest.
So then we come to the Green River, which we found almost 15 miles to be eligible. There are some dams on this section which exclude the lower part of the Green River as it goes through the city of Greenfield. I think it's town Greenfield. But up above that, there's a wild trout stream, some very scenic areas, historic covered bridges, swimming holes. So all the way up to the Vermont border is eligible. And this one is probably most important to you, the South River. We found almost 15 miles to be eligible. Most of that's in your community, some in Ashfield. So we've got regionally significant wild trout stream, we've got 2 really beautiful waterfalls, multiple swimming holes, South River State Forest, historic covered bridge, lots of things that qualify this section. And you probably know that waterfall, I suspect.
Yes.
Then the North River, there's really 3 different segments of the North River. This is the main stem. There's 3 miles of this that were eligible. This also has kind of where the confluence with the Deerfield is where that Sunburn Beach area is. It's also got Catamount State Forest along it. And then the West Branch has 12.5 miles eligible. And it's got Cook State Forest and the Chrome Shield Conservation Area. The East Branch has 7+ miles eligible in Coleraine. It's got a historic covered bridge and a historic district along that section. Pretty beautiful area as well. And then we have Pelham Brook, which is in Rowan, Charlemont, a little over 4 miles eligible there. And some of these next ones are particularly important because this one has a rare wild rainbow trout population and all 3 species of wild trout in it. Quite a few of these tributaries are really important for that reason. Also some scenic cascades on this brook. Dunbar Brook up in Florida and Monroe has a little over 5 miles eligible. It's got a scenic Dunbar Brook Trail, some cascades, some old growth forest along it. The Bear River is in your community, 8+ miles eligible. Also got a rare wild rainbow trout population, some unique geologic formations, swimming hole. Clesson Brook, almost 10 miles are eligible in Buckland and Holly. Similar, wild trout populations there that make it special. The Chickley River, 10.5 miles in Holly and Savoy are eligible. Another trout fishing river, also used for whitewater paddling sometimes of the year. Gulf Brook, about 3 miles are eligible in Savoy and Charlemont. This one has in its watershed the Tannery Brook Falls that are shown here. One of the more beautiful cascades in the watershed. Savoy Mountain State Forest and some history as well. And then Bog Brook, a little over a mile. Really, it's a pretty short brook, but it's a undeveloped, wild, free-flowing river. It was one of those ones that got initially identified in the national inventory.
So do we have more wild, free-flowing rivers in Massachusetts than most places?
No, less.
Less, okay.
Very few wild, free-flowing rivers. The Deerfield River, as you know, has a lot of dams on it.
Yeah.
But we did find that between those dams, there are segments that are eligible because they are not impounded, and the impoundments don't reach up into the entire segments.
Mhm.
So that's how the Deerfield River becomes eligible. But generally speaking, New England is a lot more dammed than every place else in the country.
Okay.
So Millbrook and Charlemont and Heath, almost 10 miles were eligible. This one has a covered bridge as well. And a waterfall. And then this one's in your community, the last one, Chapel Brook. We wanted to include this because it has the beautiful Chapel Brook Falls and swimming area and that reservation. Pretty special brook, I think. So there were 4 segments that we looked at that were not eligible, and I've kind of talked about these already, so I won't go over it again, but you know, we didn't include the ones that had too many dams. In the case of Rice Brook, it was kind of channelized in some areas.
Mhm.
So next we looked at the eligibility, or the evaluation of suitability rather, and that basically is looking at what kinds of existing protection happen along the river, and does it contribute to, you know, protecting the river in a way that would supplement the national designation. So what we looked at here was state protection, which includes the Wetlands and Rivers Protection Acts, existing federal protection, which happens through the Clean Water Act, the National Environmental Policy Act, and FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program, and then local protection, local floodplain and zoning bylaws. And we found that, you know, all of those things do really make a pretty major contribution towards protecting the river already. And the report goes into a lot more detail about that and why that's important.
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Sure.
So of the reaches that you mentioned, how many of those have been affected, like, you know, this obviously New England is huge when it comes to like the industrial factories everywhere on river sides. How many of those are affected by that?
Probably all of them.
Probably all of them? Okay.
Yeah, there were, you know, small dams, you know,
Yeah.
put into place and on a lot of, even the, you know, most of the tributaries have small dams. And some of those have been removed, luckily, or some of them
Mhm.
have been breached.
And have some of these reaches been, you know, remediated or?
Yeah, I guess a couple of them, but maybe not in the same way that other sections of the Connecticut River watershed,
Gotcha.
for example.
So when we get on the support for designation, I just wanted to ask beforehand, why would there be any opposition?
Why would there be any opposition? Well,
Money?
we haven't had any opposition.
Right.
So,
I'm just wondering, you were showing on one of your first slides, if the governor doesn't pass or the state doesn't pass it, you can go to the governor. There can be other routes.
right.
So what are the disadvantages? I just don't understand why there would be any opposition at all.
Because they would fund the study and they would do the work. If the federal government would be tasked with doing that,
Okay,
if they approve it.
got it.
And
So it is
so
money.
right now,
That's
under the
not-
current administration, if you go to the
Well,
Department of
yeah.
the Interior,
It's
they're
not
not
just-
gonna support this.
It's
I
not
guess-
just money.
I guess the
Right.
reasons that we had, I'll take the Westfield, for example, just to give you another river to think about. On the Westfield, we initially had some opposition because people misunderstood what the designation might mean. And there was some misinformation, this was, again, 30 years ago, before we had done any wild and scenic, so people didn't have much experience with it at that point.
Mhm.
There was a fear that the federal government might come in and take over land or tell people what to do with their private property. And that's not true, but there was initially some opposition from communities along the Westfield about that. We now have 30 years of experience with that, and people are pretty comfortable, and everybody's pretty happy on the Westfield, I have to say, at this point. You know, even the communities that were initially kind of like, well, we're not so sure, are really supportive at this point, so.
So they're not gonna tell someone if they have a dam on the private property, they're gonna shut it down.
No, none of the existing dams along the river would be impacted by this at all. They can continue to operate. Basically, they're excluded from the parts that we're looking at to designate. And that's part of what we went through this process for, was to map out and in detail describe which sections are eligible and which ones, because they're dammed, are not eligible. So the dams are basically taken out of the picture altogether.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So we've been, like I said earlier, working for 3 years to try to gather support for this designation. And to this point, there have been 14 towns in Massachusetts, which is basically all the towns in the watershed, have expressed support, and 12 state, regional, or local organizations, and one business have also expressed support. And that includes some of these are in Vermont, that kind of have been coming on board with this as well.
So is this national designation, is this like part of the Department of the Interior, or what federal agency?
National
is-
Park Service.
National Park Service.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to that in a second,
All right,
so
so-
we'll talk a little bit about that too. And we also reached out to the members of Congress from the watershed, and we've now had for 3 years, all 7 members, senators and Congress people on board supporting this in Vermont and Massachusetts. You can see the names here. I mentioned earlier, Congressman McGovern and Senator Markey have been the leads in putting together legislation for each Congress to try to get this through, but we've had really unanimous and broad support on that level as well. So the plan took a look at what are the key river management issues, and our advisory committee members identified these issues for the most part. And the top priority ones were invasive plants along the river. You may be well aware of this. We have a real Japanese knotweed problem on the river, pretty tough to deal with. Lack of access points to the river and to some of the trails. Heavy recreational use of the river, but not much in the way of support for like river rangers or help to manage it. Debris and dumping, water quality hotspots, those are mostly in the Greenfield area, and increasing riverfront development pressures. And then the plan goes into a lot more detail about this, but we identified really specific management strategies to address these issues. And those could include river protection zoning on the local side, stronger floodplain zoning, local wetlands ordinances or bylaws. On a regional front, we expect to put together a memorandum of understanding between all of the communities and the organizations to basically just kind of get everybody on board with working together and collaborating to protect the river. River cleanup days, which we do already. The Deerfield River Watershed Association sponsors these every year, and there is one coming up in late September this year. Woodlands Partnership, the organization that covers your area, is thinking about pursuing a national heritage area designation as well, and we might work collaboratively with them to kind of partner and do these at the same time. Working with Franklin Land Trust on land protection for very specific parcels that might be high priority. And then on the state side, we could consider pursuing outstanding resource water designation for some of the areas that are particularly pristine, or state scenic river designation, or area of critical environmental concern designation. Again, these are really specific to particular areas that have resource values. And then on the federal side, National Wild and Scenic River Designation is our major objective, and then partnership rivers funding, which comes with that, which I'll talk about in a second. So what does designation mean for the communities? First of all, it means the river is protected, along with its outstanding, remarkable values, from new dams and new water resources projects that might impair those things. So this, one of the main things we were concerned about was for example, a new dam on a section of river that's in your community, there was a proposal for that about 25 years ago or 30 years ago, and luckily it didn't happen, but that would kind of eliminate one of the big free-flowing sections of the river. So this would prevent that from happening permanently. The National Park Service has a review function for projects like that fall into the category of a federally permitted or federally funded dam or water resources project. So they would review them and be able to make comments about them. How this might play out in your community might be if there was a new culvert replacement project, for example, on I don't know if you have any culverts on the South River, actually.
Yeah, we do.
You do?
Culverts.
Okay. So if there was a replacement project there, they might comment on that, and they might ask you to, make the culvert, on the Westfield, for example, they've used kind of stone facades on the culverts to make them less obtrusive.
Right, but there might potentially be funding.
There might,
For-
yes,
yeah,
I'm coming to that in a second. So really their function would be a review function, but it's only for those particular purposes. It's not for every other development
Right,
that
yeah.
might happen, just to be clear. The Partnership Rivers funding is kind of one of the other key reasons we wanted to pursue this. Typically, partnership rivers, when they get designated, these are generally rivers in New England. They're usually rivers that have a lot of private land along them. So they're not in a national park or a national forest, but they're rivers like we have in New England. They typically get, on the average, about $210,000 per year from the National Park Service. And that funding gets managed locally by an advisory committee, much like the one that we've had working on this study. And so the Westfield has been getting this for many, many years now, and they've done all kinds of great projects with it.
And is that like money that they have to apply for every year?
No,
It's
it
not just an
comes-
automatic, it just comes
to the
to,
river every year, you don't
Okay.
have to apply. Yeah, and you get local decision making on it. It's not the Park Service telling you what to use it for, it's the local advisory committee deciding. So, we could do new trails, improved river access points, water quality improvements, river rangers, land protection projects. Facades for culverts, things like that. It's really up to the communities to decide.
How does law enforcement change for that, if it's designated differently than other places?
Law enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, like, would it be like Forest Service, or?
No, there's no federal involvement from that standpoint at all.
So it would be.
So if we wanted to, for example, hire river rangers
Mhm.
to manage that section that's most heavily used, we could do that as a regional entity. The Westfield River Wild and Scenic Committee is the entity for the Westfield, and they could spend money on that if they wanted to, and similar process could happen here.
So Conway, I'm sure you know this, but Conway has a long history with MVP and doing a lot of work on the South River. None of that would be affected by this, correct? Well, for instance, we had just applied for a grant to lower a floodplain. So I'm assuming none of that work would be impacted, but I'm actually more questioning whether or not we would have to have, if we applied for this and then got funding, if we'd have to have somebody else review it as well.
Well, MVP is state funded.
So this is only applying to federal?
Doesn't meet the criteria
Okay.
of, it has to be either a federally funded water resource project or federally permitted water resource project. So I guess in the case of your question, it would apply.
All right.
so we could
Great.
use state funding to do whatever remediation projects we needed to along that riverbank, even though it's technically, if we were designated as like the wild and scenic river, we'd still have that flexibility.
Right.
But you might have to do one more step of approval in the National Park Service, isn't that
Well, that's what I was
So I think if
saying,
we-
if it's a state-funded project, the Park Service wouldn't have
Really?
any jurisdiction in that. You know, the Wild and Scenic Committee might, if there was one, might wanna review it and just make sure that it's not gonna impair those outstandingly remarkable values. And presumably you wouldn't want that either, so.
Right, no, I mean, it seems like this is just like, oh, I'm just waiting for the, you know, like, what's the catch? 'Cause it seems like great, like, we could get like all this money just to like, you know, like, deal with our rivers, and yet if, you know, like, what is the
Well,
catch?
Westfield probably doesn't think there have been catches, have there? Chris, is
Yeah, over 30
Westfield?
years.
Yeah, the Westfield folks are really happy with
They're really
this.
happy.
You know, you're welcome to reach out to those communities, or some of them are your neighbors.
They're pushovers though.
No.
I'm sorry?
They're pushovers.
But it has to be shared, you know, amongst all these.
All the 14 towns
Yeah.
and whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could you tell the story about Polly Bartlett and the Army Corps of Engineers wanting to build a dam at Stillwater in Deerfield?
Well, you know, it's kind of before my time,
Okay.
honestly, but my understanding was that there was this proposal, and the Deerfield River Watershed Association, at the time, I wasn't a member at that point, came in and led the efforts to try to stop the dam. And Polly was, you know, probably the president of the association at that point.
Yeah,
And she's done some great things.
yeah.
And she worked on the bridge in your community, for example, for the
Polly's
many
Noise
crossing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought of it when it said prevents permitting of new dams, because that would have been bad news if they'd
Yeah.
done that. Because it was
Yeah.
supposedly to help out East Hartford, Connecticut or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry
So-
to interrupt, but if we
yeah.
can get to the
Yeah.
steps toward designation.
Yeah, what is our action item here?
Yeah. Well, so we had this process that we went through with the advisory committee. I already talked about this, so
Yeah.
I won't cover it again. They met 7 times, they guided the process.
We
and
sign
they-
on.
And they formally voted to support the study. So, next steps towards designation, we've also kind of covered most of this, so I won't go over that again. So our ask of you tonight is to vote for a letter of support to endorse the study and its findings, and to petition Congress to designate the river as a national wild scenic river. I mean, our sample letter of
Oh,
support.
I got it.
Yeah, we have it, yeah,
Forwarded.
so that's our first step, and if it doesn't work at the federal level, then we go through basically those steps that you outlined.
Yes.
But that still hits the federal level.
It
We
eventually, yeah, because
Eventually
then
have to get to.
more
federal
Healy
level.
has to petition the
But
Secretary
then
of
you
Interior, so.
would you reactivate this like when there's a new Congress? You know, would this
Well, we'll
support
keep
carry
trying
over, you know?
regardless of the Congress, but, you know, if if the midterms change the structure of the Congress, we might have a better shot.
So will somebody keep bringing this back up to
Yes.
the current?
I mean, do you-
Congress?
I will
The
do
department, the head of the department.
I'll personally.
No,
They're sure you're
Right.
keep doing that.
not
I'd
to
like,
support
do you
natural
happen to know,
resources.
like, over the past, like, 2 or 3 years, when is the last time any town, or any petition for the designation of a river as wild and scenic has actually been approved?
By Congress?
Yes.
I don't think there has been one.
So,
I don't think this Congress has acted on
So-
environmental legislation.
so in the past,
No.
okay, so like in the past 10 years, how many rivers have been designated as wild and scenic?
That's a really good question, and I don't honestly know the answer to it, but there's been several in New England that I can cite. There's 2 in Vermont, one's called the Upper Missisquoi, and I think the other one's in
Okay,
California.
so it has happened in the past 10 years?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I think several in Rhode Island, one in Connecticut maybe. So yes, there have been some, but not since.
Not in the past 2
there's
years,
been,
yeah.
You know, Republican leadership in Congress.
But yeah, right, but
basically.
I mean, it seems like it's not, I mean, you know, we're being asked to sign a letter of commitment saying that we appreciate
Yeah, and I think it's a moot point to try to think of
Yeah.
how they're
what's
gonna
gonna, yeah.
approve or not. We shouldn't be the
Exactly,
stopgap.
Yeah, this
So,
is something that we're
yeah.
in favor of, regardless
Right.
of what the political situation. I'm just curious, like, you know, in reality, like, what this is gonna, you know, how it's gonna play out. But it seems like we get this designation, we basically have access to a potential new source of funding.
How often can we shove this down their throats? If it fails the first time, how often can we automatically?
In Congress,
Yes.
our congressional delegation is committed to introducing legislation every year. And
So just
far,
reapply
they've
each
been
year,
good to
annually.
their word, you know, they've been really
Okay.
active and helpful.
Great.
And your group has not applied yet.
I'm sorry?
There's been no application presented yet to Congress for this designation.
No, there has. There's
Oh, there-
been
oh, okay.
bills filed every year for the last
It's-
3 years.
okay.
One year, it made it through the Senate Environment and Natural Resources Committee with Senator Markey's help, and did not reach the floor of the Senate, unfortunately.
So we just keep
Chris,
trying.
maybe you could briefly distinguish, this was the eligibility, I mean, this was support for the eligibility study, right?
Yeah,
Which was the proposed legislation, but here we have now completed the eligibility study.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a little confusing
Yeah.
about these.
so
two
you've not
extra
actually
steps.
applied for, we've done the study, but we've not actually applied for the designation?
Yes,
Okay,
that-
all right,
that
that
is
was my question,
actually-
okay.
And we could talk in circles about what we can't control, but
Right,
what we
but-
can control is,
Is-
I'm gonna make a motion here,
Yeah.
if you don't mind. I'll make a motion, to vote that Conway endorses the study, and the proceeding request for designation of the Deerfield River Wild and Scenic Study.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
And Mr. Curtis, thank you so much.
thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
For-
very much. I appreciate
It was a great,
your time.
Thank you for all your
Yeah,
work
great
on this.
presentation.
I appreciate your work.
And I'll get that draft and have it signed, and I'll get it right to you as soon as I can.
By the way, most of the other communities in Watershed have voted on this as well, so
I would hope
It's
so.
kind of a no-brainer,
I would
so,
hope
you
so.
know.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else Janet's here for?
I think you've been at several meetings, right?
Jess, is that you? Yes.
Okay, all right. Discussion and vote on Hilltown Trust conservation restriction request for 4.5 landlocked acres between South Ashfield, Williamsburg Road, and Briar Hill Road. Jess.
Jess Athens, Hotel Land Trust, it's nice to meet you all.
Yes.
So you are the last visit on a marathon of signatures.
Yes.
This conservation restriction approved. Like you said, it's 4 little landlocked acres on the side of a steep slope that is undevelopable, already under
And
conservation.
so we're just agreeing that this is land we want to conserve.
We are looking for your approval to finalize the conservation restriction.
Yeah, okay, so,
It is in a nutshell, yes.
Where is it?
We need
It's
a-
on Williamsburg Road?
it's,
So, Briar Hill Road's the official address, so Goshen, Williamsburg, Briar Hill Road, but it's between that and Williamsburg Road. So
Okay.
it's just up the hill,
Yep.
west.
Yep.
It's 132 acres, so it kind of sprawls down.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm sorry, of the 132,
This
this
is
this is the
4.39
four that's in
in
Conway.
Conway.
Got it,
On the side of a,
got it. Okay, I'll wait for Erica here. I have no questions on this.
Me
It's
either.
pretty
Let's do it.
I can answer
Easy.
them.
Gina, are there any interesting things planned for the land in terms of trails or access or anything like that?
Yes, over the summer, we actually launched a trail network up mostly on the Goshen parcel and in collaboration with Williamsburg Woodland Trails. So they're Briar Hill Conservation Land. So there's a nice little network in there now, which actually.
Oh,
you
you
guys
did
can-
send us the trail map.
Oh, I did.
I think
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Claire
officially
Hill
launched,
sent the packet, yeah.
but we purposefully left out most of Williamsburg and that Conway parcel,
Yep,
just to leave it for wildlife habitat.
nice.
To kind of keep it within minimum. So yeah, we invite you all, if you'd like a personal tour, it's really fun to
Yeah.
show that off.
That would be great.
Fun.
So this is, yeah,
Just
that's
need
great.
yeah, I know.
Field trip.
So this is 4.5
Heck
acres
yeah.
in Conway that is a part of 130 acres.
Right, and that, so it's, I don't see any reason not to.
Oh, no, I was gonna vote, I was just waiting.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion, to vote on a Hilltown Trust conservation restriction for 4.5 landlocked acres between the South Ashfield, and Williamsburg Road and Briar Hill Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Yay.
So, I did print this out. Did
Okay,
you
I
have an
a
original?
copy.
Okay, I didn't know if there's one you already had signed that was supposed to be, but they do have one here that they
Yeah,
can.
okay,
Okay.
perfect. Yep. Possible to get your notarized signatures this evening, that would be fantastic. If not, I'm happy to come back and pick it up. And-
Oh, right, yeah, we'll
And
have to
very
get,
notarized.
we'll have to get Lori Luce here, yeah, to help us with that one.
Okay.
Thank
you. Thanks for your work on this.
Yeah.
I'm good?
Good.
Okay, so yeah, if you just wanna let me know when to come pick it up.
Sure,
Mine,
Sure.
Where is it?
excellent, thank you.
Thank you so much, it was nice to meet you.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Okay, all right, finally, discussion and vote on a grant application authorization for the Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program for repairs to 3 Shelburne Falls Road embankments.
Okay,
This
so,
is that's right.
so this is a little bit more in-depth than most of them because, so, just to back up, I've been working with Federal Funds Infrastructure Office, they've been doing all the work. And we tried to do the Protect grant before, but then that went away. So they have all the information still on file about those 3 embankments that we need to shore up. And so Amy and Nation had put this together as a possibility for the planning portion of this to be under the Rural and Tribal Assistance Program Pilot Grant. So in the back of that, I did attach her general budget, but
So no matching funds required. The amount of the grant would be the $348,000. No matching funds, not a federal grant, it doesn't trigger a town audit, essentially.
right.
So this is essentially us giving Veronique the ability to sign and apply for a grant for $348,000
Yeah.
for the embankment work.
Which hopefully will get, and then we can do
Yes,
planning.
and so this requires no
None on our
outlay of
side.
expenses on.
Right, although
This is
I
just-
am hoping and wondering if we can maybe leverage the $75,000 earmark as part of this as well, if
Right.
need be, so.
It just may make our grant application more.
And one of the things that I'm particularly interested in, which I think the board agrees, is to basically research as many nature-based solutions as we can, rather than just throwing riprap. If that ends up being the only
Yeah.
solution, fine, but otherwise, if we could find something else
Absolutely.
that's nature-based. And I'm pretty sure DOT has a list of folks who deal with nature-based engineering, so
Yeah,
That's
that'd
what I'm
be great to
hoping
know,
to-
it's
yeah.
just time sensitive.
it is, I know.
Those things are eroding like crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion that we vote to approve this grant application for Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program for repairs to 3 Shelburne Falls Road embankments.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye?
Okay. Okay, items not anticipated 48 hours in advance. We had a request from Paul Catanzaro from UMass, and it turns out he has found a photograph. Essentially, he's publishing a book. Found a photograph that he believes that the town of Conway owns the copyright to, and is asking for our request to publish this in the book.
And I believe that was forwarded by Yulia.
Yeah. So it's a historic photo of a farm in Pumpkin Hollow, Conway, Mass. And I believe since the original photographer is not able to identify, he's not able to identify the original photographer, it seems as if we, as the town select board.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, he's showing 2 photographs of the same place but years apart
Right.
for his book.
so he is looking for permission from us, as the town of Conway, to publish this photo in his book, and I feel absolutely fine about that. He doesn't know who took the photo, and neither do we, but he believes,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a thing of,
Sounds good.
it's, yeah,
you put underneath it unknown.
exactly. But he's asking us to sign this official permission form, which I feel totally fine about, so,
Yeah.
motion to, give Paul Catanzaro from UMass permission to use the photo that he requested, in his email to us.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. TA updates.
Oh, gosh, right, me.
Make it fast.
Yeah, I will.
I got a couple things too
okay.
that are random.
Okay, I think everybody's up to date with where we're at with Source Pass, but Erica's keeping up to date with,
Yes, it's costing us more money than we thought. It's not clear why.
yeah. Basically, the gist of it is, at least for our equipment, we found out that some of our computers, like my laptop is okay in terms of, like, it's maybe 9th generation or something. It'll just need a little software boost, but most of our,
Hardware.
desktops,
Most
yeah,
of the hardware needs an upgrade, which.
Right, we don't really have a choice, but why didn't they know this ahead of time?
Well, that was
Because they
our
couldn't get into
question,
them.
and what they said was they didn't have
Yeah.
the
Didn't they go
appropriate
into a site
access at
visit?
the time that they.
Yeah, we have questions
Yeah,
as well.
okay.
And it is, I mean,
We're in
it's-
it now.
Yeah,
Like,
and it is a transition period, like I said, like, we're moving from Unix to like Microsoft Cloud, there's a lot of complicating factors, but this is one of our questions is, how did you not know that it was?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when you say, oh, we've come across this before,
Mhm.
which
Yeah,
is
just
what they've
yeah.
said, so you're like, so if you've
Yeah.
come across this before, why don't you specifically look at this then?
And so what I did was they gave me an original quote, which was like $54,000, and I was like, hey, what?
Right,
And then I said, okay, what absolutely has to be done
right.
right now, and what can we put off?
Mhm.
And they were also willing to finance it over 3 years with no interest for us. So, but what I'd like to do, if possible, is let's just get everybody has to have a working machine
Right.
that will work at the proper speed once we're in the cloud. And I gather it takes a lot more juice when you're
Yeah.
working in the cloud.
So they're gonna basically provide to us, like, what has to happen immediately, like, what do we need to do before they can actually complete this transition from in-house IT support to outsourced IT support? And then they're kind of like the things that they recommend that don't immediately have to happen, they're gonna split out their quote, basically.
And that's what I'm hoping we have time, and I'm hoping the grant comes up again, that I can apply for a community compact IT grant to take care of the rest of the costs, rather than us working
Yeah.
it all at once, so we'll see. Okay, so that's that. Transfer station was so
Oh,
exciting.
hold on,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
not that. Outside of hardware cost and obviously the cost of cloud service, which is, we need to pay. If they have some other type of service they're trying to tack on because of one of their mistakes, then we shouldn't be paying for it. They should cover that.
Yeah, there wasn't an additional service, this was literally just like, oh, now that we've come in and we're
Hardware.
doing the job that we
Okay,
said we
it's
were
just
gonna
hardware.
do,
Alright.
we actually need more money.
I just wanted to put that
Yeah,
out there
I
to
know.
make
Yeah,
sure,
me
okay.
too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I will say, I'm thrilled that Erica's involved, because I'm not the biggest techie anymore. And so I'm kind of between all these people, but Roy has just told me tonight he's gonna make our call on Friday.
Mhm.
So if I've got, and I don't know if you can make it.
I can, yeah, I can do
If
it
I've got
Friday,
Roy,
yeah.
Erica, and Source Pass, and me, and Adam all on the same call, I'm hoping we get to the whole bottom of this, and just like, so after that, we should be able to come back to you on the 8th with more,
An actual
Excellent.
dollar
I
figure.
hope.
Okay, transfer station, sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. So I'm really excited, because we actually had 17 people in the email chain who are willing to volunteer.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I know.
That's great.
See, give them a nice building and they're like, okay.
So we're talking about logistics in the building, and it was great because everybody, was giving their feedback. I hope I took away the right thing, which was, originally I talked about just having a little room for the volunteers, and one of the women chimed up and said, well, why don't we really, it would be better if you just insulated like half the building, put a wall right here. Because I don't think we can afford to insulate the whole building
Probably
and
not.
AC and heat the whole building with those big double doors. It's just gonna be a waste of heat and AC.
Mhm.
But she was like, well, just do a wall here, so the doors would go into the unheated space. But then half of it, and it could be like clothing that stays in the heat, whatever, but the volunteers could be in there and staying warm and sorting a little bit.
So the
Anyway.
swap shop would be uninsulated, unheated, but the
No,
volunteer space.
No, it would be swap shop too, but it would be half the building.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
rather than trying to make a tiny little room, they were trying to figure out how to do dimensions in that building for a
Okay.
tiny room, and it was just gonna take up so much space, that it was like, well, what if we just enclosed half of it? So that's currently the thought.
To go up there and check it out.
Yeah. I just bought a lockbox, so there'll be a coded lockbox like realtors have, so, you know, can give you code, you can go up and check it out anytime.
Sweet.
And somebody else is gonna be putting together a Google scheduler, so it'll be like Jan's Pickleball.
Oh, good.
So people will be able to tell whether or not there's somebody at the mall that weekend, so they'll know whether it's gonna be open or not.
So will people be able to like sign up for shifts that way too? If
Yes,
they are volunteers?
that's what it's,
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
yeah.
great.
Yep.
Do we
Um,
think it'll open this year?
Well, we talked about doing a soft opening. I really want it open as soon as possible.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't have any stuff anymore, that's the thing.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry.
Okay, all
There,
right.
people are gonna be bringing in stuff, but we thought for a soft opening, and I know this is gonna, I can't do it right now, because of the festival, maybe right after the festival, we could borrow some of these tables.
Mhm.
I told them the outdoor tables are not gonna happen again because of all the stuff people dumped, and if it's
Yeah.
outside, it's not monitored, it's
Then it
just
gets rained on and, yeah.
all of that. But we could maybe borrow some of these after the festival, put them inside, and just have indoor tables while we're trying to sort everything else out, just for swapping, you know.
What if we took some of those heavy tables to use and then just
Left them there?
bulky them? Because those things are dinosaurs,
And then we
those
never
old, you know,
move them
those old
again?
brown ones that
Well, you know,
I-
why not, cause then
Cause there's a
if,
whole stack of them.
okay, and if they get beat up, then they get shifted
they-
from there to right
just-
into the metal pile.
Yeah,
Great idea, love
Yeah,
it.
love it.
yeah.
And you're gonna help move, right?
Yes, it was.
I heard that.
He knew that was part of it.
Before I open my mouth,
Don't
I
be laughing, Liam, you're gonna be on that team too.
I know.
Okay, and unfortunately, the cost of recycling, we're not getting as much money back in the market right now, just wanna let you know. It's
That's the market.
going in the wrong direction, but it'll probably go back. We already talked about green communities and Source Pass and federal funds. And I think I mentioned the LEAP program, which is, what an acronym, Local Early Stage and Actionable Planning. There's some small grants that we might be able to apply for. Stam's gonna have a thing on this on September 4th, so I'll know more then. But I wanted to throw out the idea. I know you had some ideas for what to apply for. And I know we've had residents who have asked if we could do a sidewalk from right at, Baptist Hill and Shelburne Falls to complete the square.
Mm-hmm.
I know it would be tricky, but, you know, if we got the state involved. And then also, another thought would be, what if we had a sidewalk going, from the ball fields? You know, it kinda ends right at the church. If there's some way to figure out how to get it all the way up to the Conway pool.
Well, you know, the church doesn't even want that sidewalk anymore.
Well, I think they wanted it replaced. But anyway, it's just a thought. They also have, one of the things I thought was interesting about this is they're willing to do community-driven projects.
Mm-hmm.
And they're willing to come in and kind of guide the community discussion. So if that's something that you're interested in, we just have people say,
What about the Conway pool?
Yeah.
I've been working that in the background.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did talk with somebody today about getting a list of all the jobs that they need done.
Oh,
That we
good,
could post.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
And MVP 2.0 is moving forward and any questions?
No, I just have a couple quick things.
Yes, select board member comments and concerns.
Did you go on a ride along?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, why?
I've just been observing, like, driving on a lot of
Yeah.
dirt roads.
Yeah.
In general, I don't find them, I mean, there's a couple of washboard areas, there's
Mhm.
I
a
drove
few
on it
washouts,
again.
but I'm
Yeah.
like, but the thing is also, the other day I was driving my truck, you know, which has very different suspension, and I was like, God, I love this truck, I should drive this truck more, and then I hit a dirt road, and, you know, I was like, whoa, I don't, you know, it's a different ride.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, well, you know, I mean, you drive a big,
We did do a ride
I did a drive around with Ron on
Okay.
our town tour roads, not with, I can't remember the gentleman's name. Brian,
Yeah.
Muscus, yes.
Muscus, yeah.
Yes, I have not done the ride along with him,
Okay.
but I did the ride along with Ron, and Ron acknowledged that there are like spots that like need more work than others, but
Right.
again, it's like, remind me, Chris, how many miles of dirt road do we have?
Oh, we have
24.
64 miles in our town, of those 64, 24 are dirt roads.
24.
I mean,
yeah.
I just went up Cricket Hill Road all the way to the end, it was really not bad at all, and that road can be washed
Yeah.
out big
Oh, gosh,
time,
yeah.
that was not bad at all.
So there were
We've
definitely
been
a
up and
couple
down
of
Fields Hill.
spots that like,
There's no worse
Ron
than it
acknowledged,
ever
like,
is.
yes, this is a bad spot, but, I mean, honestly, in the tour that we did of the town, there were like 2.
Yeah, alright, so
That
that was
felt-
one of my things,
yeah.
just observing that.
But I'm still happy to do, I've been, this has been a crazy summer for me, so I have not,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to do that with Ryan. I'm happy to.
I saw a truck, a water truck from Connecticut, parked,
Taking our water for
yes,
pools.
Are you
That's,
kidding?
you've seen that happen
No.
before.
Wait, what?
Phil had reported that a couple
a
years ago.
water truck from
Yeah.
Connecticut has been here twice in the last week from,
Where?
Jen knew the town.
But
Jen
where
would
were they
remember.
parked?
Where we take the fire trucks fill up.
Are you kidding me?
No, big tanker truck, and I was like, oh, must be our fire tanker, and I
Yeah.
pull up, and it's Connecticut.
Is
Like,
that-
is there,
Yeah,
is
it
this
allowed?
okay?
Is that something that we can ask, do we have?
We could certainly ask.
Jen runs that loop all the time, and she
Yeah.
said, oh, I see that truck now regularly. So this isn't like a one-time deal, and the river is low.
Yeah,
Low, it's very low.
very low.
Yeah. Yeah, I should certainly talk with Don about that, and maybe Chief Baker.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
see.
I mean, is that,
Yeah.
Well, I just don't
If
know
we
the
can get somebody
rules.
to
I
get
know.
I don't
a
either, but,
photo of the truck also, there would
I
hopefully
could
be
have
like a
taken it
number on it.
yesterday.
well, you know
Yeah.
what?
We know the town, Jen, I can ask Jen the town.
Town,
Yeah.
doesn't the town own that property right now? Cause we just bought it. If you're talking about where the dry hydrant was gonna be?
Yeah.
Going across.
oh, that's right, we own the Bay property
We
now.
own that
Yeah,
property, so we
And it's
could.
posted, like,
Oh,
don't
no, but
walk.
we could, whatever for trespass, couldn't we? If
I mean, let's
somebody's-
get the town name so we
Yeah.
can call.
Yeah, I think.
It's not a
Contact the
town
town.
truck, it's
No,
a private truck,
Well, no,
Oh.
but it's
but,
from Connecticut.
but, we take pictures of the plates.
It's a
I'm sure- I'm
business
sure,
in Connecticut,
I'm sure
and the
Chief
name is
Bates
on the truck.
can figure, like, we can figure out who those people are.
Right, I mean, I'm sure they'll go to another river around, but it's just like,
Still, it's like,
yeah,
I-
alright,
that
so
is-
I didn't know the rules
If
around
Jen,
that.
if Jen goes running and has her,
I'll,
she took a
I'll put
picture?
her on alert, yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
because
It
having the
was-
picture would be,
yeah,
Right, I should
Yeah.
have taken a picture, I just saw it Sunday. So, anyway,
and you know, I could also ask, Janet if she knows anything about that.
Yeah.
too.
I imagine she would have seen
Yeah.
it too.
yeah, good point. Are we gonna fix the festival sign?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kind of really,
the one that's ratcheted
it,
into the trees.
like to like be having a festival, it looks like you're not having a festival anymore,
No.
that broken down thing, and I had said maybe we could get Eversource to put a couple of posts in.
Right, right.
And stick it
Yeah, we
up
talked
there.
about this before.
I feel like
Um,
whoever like hung it back up was really proud that they.
Right,
that
it's,
they hung that
it's like
far.
strapped to a tree
But it, yeah,
or
it is,
something.
it's got like,
just-
it's like ratchet
It
straps.
looks really bad.
Yeah, okay,
So
well,
when
the committee just had a meeting tonight,
Yeah.
so I will.
I mean,
And when I went in
can't
with
we
the
do it as a
committee,
town?
yeah, I
As a
mean,
festival sign?
I think we could help, obviously, but when I had a meeting with the committee about the car show,
Oh, yeah.
I did bring that up. And I could have sworn they said that something was gonna be done, and it was just temporary, but this is way beyond temporary.
Well, I
It's
think,
getting so close to the festival,
Yeah.
too, you don't wanna look like, you
Yeah.
know, here's our festival, we're so proud of it, and here the sign is like ready to,
Yeah,
is that
blow
on
over.
private property or town property?
I think that's,
I think it's private property,
Oh,
it can't
is
be, it can't be,
I don't, cause it's,
it couldn't be on, yeah. Come on, Bernie. It can't be in the DOT right away. Because they wouldn't allow a sign
it's
like
probably,
that.
it's probably.
But
Boynton's
somebody's
stretch.
private
Or, I
property that.
mean, Baker. It may still be
oh,
Doug
Doug Baker's,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably, yeah.
I mean, it's been there forever.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, cause that's one of the issues, I didn't update you on that tonight, but, Susan Schroeder's still working on the sign placement, she got approval from DOT for the 2 signs, I still have to make sure, so there's one, up on Asheville.
These are the
Road.
right to farm,
Yes,
Yeah.
Right, the
Signs,
farm signs, yeah, so there's one up on, that's gonna be on private property that DOT approved up on Asheville Road, but the other one they wanna do at the grammar school, there's a question of which place would be best, but either one DOT approved, so now I just need to make sure the school and Ron are okay with where.
how about we have the Festival of the Hills Committee in here on our next meeting, and we can talk about what happened, what the news we got today, and talk about the sign, and talk about, hey, you know, how's this looking? This is coming soon. Volunteers, how's everything looking?
Yeah,
I think they have, volunteers are starting to show up. from what
Yeah,
I've
and
heard.
they just had a meeting tonight too,
Yeah.
was there, or, no, that was, sorry, that was Board of Health. I think you have a meeting tomorrow.
And my
actually.
last thing is a neighbor and townsperson stopped by, and she, I guess Karen Eldred had talked to you before about the mowing.
Yep.
So she was very upset about the milkweed in front of the library. It's like right about, you know, was growing in front of the town hall.
Oh,
It was
in front of-
growing up, and it's right about
Ready
the
to,
sensitive time
Yeah.
that the butterflies need it, and then she goes by and the town guys cut it down.
well, I don't know who it was, I don't,
It wasn't our guy.
yeah, well, it may have been our contractor who came in and weeded it, I don't know. Janet and I were talking about it the other day when she came in, and we were both like, yeah, go milkweed.
Okay.
But so I don't know how it got removed, who removed it the last time.
Okay.
It's up again, and it's pretty tall again, and I was gonna reach out to Ron and say, can you just make
Just
sure,
leave it until
leave
Yeah.
the milkweed,
September.
thank you, yes.
Right, okay,
I mean, this batch hasn't flowered yet, but it's,
okay. Because she feels like she hasn't really been heard on this, and I said that would surprise me, because I know people are very
yeah,
into the butterflies and pollinators and all that kind of stuff, so, but she's talked to the lawn guys herself. She's very supportive of Ron, but she feels like Ron kind of turns a little deaf ear to this. I mean, he's
Well,
got,
in front of the town office, somebody, it looked like committee people or something. I saw them one Sunday morning, and they're the ones who cut all
who cut it all down?
Could
in
it
front
be
of the
the
town
pollinator
office.
group?
No, they would not.
I didn't
take
really
it
pay
down.
close attention, you know, I was going over to,
Yeah,
I
Were
came
they from
out and I was
Connecticut?
going over to, yeah, they were from Connecticut.
We're gonna take your water and your milkweed.
You know, maybe I could just, I mean, if the board is all approved of that, I'd be happy to stick a sign out there that says, do not touch this milkweed.
I think it'd be great. I think
I'd be
it's
Because I don't know
certainly,
who's doing it.
More
now.
signs.
we don't know who's doing it.
But
Yeah,
a small sign, just so.
yes.
But it wasn't anybody, it wasn't a company or our guys.
Okay, that's
It
good.
was people,
Interesting.
Oh,
at least in front of the town
speaking of
office.
signs,
Okay.
2 for 2,
Well,
stop sign,
I will get
Yeah,
back to
I-
Karen that we are gonna try to moderate this, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
We're all pro milkweed.
I'm gonna go move it myself,
Okay.
and then I'll put it at the highway department. If they don't wanna remove it, we've given them enough time.
Did you see the email that I?
Remove what?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, just
It's
wanted to make
been
sure.
weeks since then.
Oh, it has, I
Yeah,
just wanted to make
it's
sure
been-
I
yeah.
forwarded
Like,
it.
how long does it
that's
take
all.
to go down and remove a sign?
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, I talked to Chief Baker, and he presented this big pamphlet, Cartographic Associates in Littleton, New Hampshire, had done a base map, for the town, and it's, at this stage, is 9 years old. He says that it's very critical for the fire department and the, any emergency services, EMS and police, to have this map. So
Are
they
you talking
know-
about our GIS being updated?
No, it's like a handheld map. Like, it was a big 12 by 17.
Oh, I know, I've been
It's
working
big
on
with
that for 3 years,
Okay.
and the problem is, the assessor, Derek knows about it, because this is done through the assessor's office.
That's what I said. I said, I bet this is through the
I've been
assessors.
working on it,
I
I've been
gave
asking.
him an update about assessor's office and
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we've been kind of going through,
Yeah.
and said, I'll bring it up to the board.
Yeah.
But,
No, he's absolutely right, these are critical, they should have them, and I ordered, actually, last January, when I was at the, MMA, I ran into the guys who create these, and I said, oh yeah, we need 5 of these, you know, and you hear the people to talk to, and I thought it was like all set. But no, because the maps haven't been updated, and there's just, it's like
So the
unfortunately.
GIS
Well,
needs to be
maybe we
updated
need to
before
go
this-
up to Littleton, because there's a great brewery there.
yeah. I got the name of the place, but you're saying that they can't even make that until the assessors are caught up with GIS?
Correct,
That's okay.
So they can't do that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because
correct.
then they'd be putting the wrong
Totally.
Exactly,
Yeah.
owners
yeah,
on it. Yeah.
but I agree, this should have been done years,
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we're just playing a huge game of catch-up,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I will bring it up again and
Nudge.
just be like, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, if like, are we the only town that's in this situation? I mean, I imagine they do these maps for like all the other towns. Is it
Well,
just-
it's our assessors.
Yeah, it's our
So
assessors
it's
that
our
issue.
GIS.
Yeah.
It's our
It's our issue.
And
Yeah,
is
it's our
that
people.
also because of the transition that we did from the two,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the?
Yeah. It's-
And
it's a
we're
lot of
still waiting on
transitions.
the other thing I've been asking for years now. With the,
Pilots.
yeah, well, not
And the
just
municipally owned,
municipally owned, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, the pilots are a whole other matter, but yes.
Yeah, well, you did see though that the, there's gonna be a commission looking
I
into
did.
that right
Looking
now.
at the pilot, yeah.
Yeah.
The pilots, yes, so some movement, yay.
Well, good to note, whoever's doing the cleaning and the trash has been emptied on the ball field
Oh,
regularly.
she's been great.
Adam.
I've not seen
Oh,
it.
no, I-
Yeah.
you're not gonna see me doing that again.
No, Corinne's gonna make
Yeah,
it.
she's been really good.
Okay, so mail, I didn't see this, request for support for Northern Teal, sorry, I
Tier,
can't, Northern Tier Railroad from FERCog, that's a mouthful. Announcements?
I already gave a
Yeah.
support, I wrote in the recorder a huge thing
Yeah,
about the support
so
for
this,
that.
but it's mail.
Okay.
It's mail.
Well, they were asking for a letter of support, and I think she sent a sample one, so, you know.
I think,
Happy to
haven't we
sign.
signed one of
Yeah.
those already? I mean, they just have to do it every couple of years, I guess. All right, so, next meeting, September 8th, Monday, 2 weeks from now, and then the next meeting after that,
Are we on 2
22nd?
weeks?
the 22nd, and I think I told you I have to go to Alaska for a week. But I think I'm not leaving until the 23rd, so I can do the 22nd meeting. So yeah, next meeting, September 8th, 6 p.m.
Okay.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone.